Hey, what's up, everybody? It is March 3rd, 2020, which means we are ready for this week's TNT Tuesday. All right, so there's something that's been out there for quite some time. If you ever walked into like a children's museum, if you walked into or you saw an art display, there are these little things out there called, or what I call, two-way letters. All right, and what I mean by two-way letter is it looks like one letter from one direction, and you look at it from another direction, it's another letter. They're very complicated looking, and honestly, they would probably be very not fun to go out there and actually create with the bandsaw. But I'm going to tell you, with the software and with the help of 3D printing, I think we're going to be able to do this pretty easy, especially with the software. Now, 3D printing might be kind of tricky. It all depends on your 3D printer. But with the software, I'm going to tell you right now, these are actually very, very simple to make. All right, and what I mean by the two-way letters is, if we take a look at the example we have in front of us, if we come out here and take a look at this at 45 degrees, we can see that that's my first name. We spin this and look at the other 45 degrees, there's my last name. All right, but when we take a look at this from this angle, we can see that these letters are very, very complicated. I mean, just look at this YN combo that we have here. It's crazy looking, all right? Almost a little intimidating, but I'm telling you, with the software, it's pretty simple. So let me show you how to do this. We can come out here, open up a standard inch IPT. We're going to start a 2D sketch, pick on this work plane, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep up here in the top right hand quadrant. All right, so I'm going to stay to the top right of the origin. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a text box. I'm going to place that right up there. I'm going to go ahead and put in an uppercase letter, okay, from my first initial, which in my case is C. Then when I come out here, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that 2-inch height, okay, to that text. Now, just know with Inventor, you have to make sure to highlight that first before you apply your 2 inches. Now we can go ahead and say OK. All right, so I'm done with that text. I'm going to go ahead and pick on OK. I'm going to go ahead and just drag this text up into that top right-hand corner, and now I'm going to go ahead and finish the sketch. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here and do an extrude. All right, if it is not extruding, here's the one thing you have to learn with Inventor. Fonts and Inventor are not created equal. Some fonts will extrude and emboss, others will not. So if it is not extruding, or if you're having a font that is not embossing, it's just because it doesn't like the font. Go out there, pick another font, all right, see if you can find something similar to it. Maybe you can work with that. All right, so once I have my text extruding, I'm going to go ahead and just extrude that to a distance of 2, and now I'm going to go ahead and say OK. All right, so we have our first initial done. So watch how this works. I'm going to come out here underneath my origin folder, and I'm going to be finding the plane that's on the back side of this, the one that looks like this. I'm going to go ahead and turn the visibility on there. I'm going to start that 2D sketch right there on that work plane. And now this time I'm going to come out here and I'm going to create another text box, but this time this is going to be my last initial. Make sure it's an uppercase and make sure that that is a distance of 2 for your text height. All right, so if your text comes in all lopsided like this, no problem, use rotate. Okay, pick on the text, red arrow for the center point, now pick, and now you can go ahead and just rotate that into the direction you want that to be, and go ahead and select done. All right, so now what you can do is you can drag this text over, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. All right, because unless you're hovering over the top of it, you're going to lose sight of where it's at. Why? Because it's behind that first extrusion. So just come in here and you're going to pick and move this, all right, and you're going to get this somewhat centered on there, all right, as long as it's all within that extrusion. I'm liking the way that looks, so I'm going to go ahead and finish that sketch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here and go to extrude, all right, and it's amazing. I think one of the most overlooked things with Inventor is the magic behind intersect, all right, and I get it. Normally we're living here or here, right? All right, we're either doing additive or subtractive modeling, okay, but actually this one right here, intersect, is pretty amazing, and that's what we're going to use it for on this case. So I'm going to go ahead and say intersect. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pick on that profile. Now the problem is it's probably going to be kicking it in the wrong direction, so we can do the flip-flop here. Instead of specifying a distance, I'm just going to go ahead and say all, and finally say OK. I'm going to go ahead and just shut down this work plane and check this out. We have ourselves a two-way letter. All right, so I can look at it from that angle. Okay, look at it from that angle, and I can see my initials. Okay, kind of fun, right? All right, so in order to finish all this up, if you're actually going to go out there and 3D print these and put these onto some sort of a nameplate, you know, like so. All right, what that's going to require you to do is put some sort of a base on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and start a 2D sketch down here on this face. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here and I'm just going to draw a line. It's just going to be a reference line. Actually, I'm going to flip-flop it. I'm going to draw a line from this corner and take it to this corner. And then now what I can do is draw a line starting from the midpoint. And I know that that is going to be a diameter of 1.5. I'm going to go ahead and finish the sketch. And now I can go ahead and extrude that down, let's just say a distance of 0.125, and I can say okay on that. All right, so it is attached. It's a little bit thin on the bottom, but for this case, we can make it work. If you need to come back in, add extrusions, to beef up that base, you can do it. All right, so that is done. Now, as far as the assembly, all right, what you're going to need is you're going to need some sort of a plate that has a bunch of holes, that have been counterbored into it, just like so. So I went out there and I created holes that had a diameter of 1.5. They're extruded as a cut down a distance of 0.125. All right, and then it's just a matter of going out there and placing those in with inserts. So check this out. All right, here's how I did it. I went out there and I did a place. Okay, I went out there and I grabbed that letter that I just created. Where's my two-way nameplate? There it is. And then let's see, here's my CD, there it is. Okay, I went ahead and I dropped that in. Okay, now I can go out there and use constrain, use insert. I can come in here, I want to say that edge is going to be meeting up with this edge. I can go ahead and hit apply. All right, and now all we have to do is, in order to get that to 45 degrees, we come here to constrain. I go to my angle constraint, go to my first solution, I pick on this flat face and I pick on this face. We can see there it's at 0. But if I go out there and I say spin this at negative 45 and say okay, all right, now it's going to be locked down and ready to go. All right, so it's just a matter of then repeating the entire process, creating all the letters that you need, okay, getting those placed onto that, all right, and applying your angle constraint. All right, just like so. All right, so a lot of you are probably wondering, what does the 3D print look like on this? Well, let's take a look. So I'm just going to tell you right now, the 3D printer that I used on this was an Ultimaker 2 Plus. The support on that, I obviously turned that on. It's a little bit rough. All right, so I guess it all depends on the 3D printer, right? But we can kind of see it's a little bit rough here at the bottom, not too bad. We can see where the support was generated here on top. It's a little bit, gnawed up or whatever. And if you kind of look close enough here at the base of it, you can still see that there's some support in there. Definitely one of those projects I'm really starting to miss my old Dimension printer that had the water-soluble support bath. And we could just have thrown that into the bath and it would have eaten all that support. But honestly, people, not bad. Okay, this actually worked out pretty well for me. But once again, I think the weakest link in all this is going to be your 3D printer. So just keep that in mind. But there you go. That's a fun, exciting project, kind of magical. Your kids really dig it. This is something I just played with this week with my kids. They absolutely loved it. They found it fascinating. And of course, now I have about 4 3D printers going. Printing these letters, but it's a cool thing. So there you go. That's it. I hope you all have a great week. Thanks for joining me for this week's TNT Tuesday. See you next week.